नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अद्य अनेन विश्वविद्यालयेन राष्ट्रीयसंस्कृतविश्वविद्यालयेन अन्ताराष्ट्रीयमहिलाहिंसो उन्मूलनदिवसः परिपाल्यते। तथैव महिलापख्वाडा इति मन्त्रालयोक्तरीत्या अस्माभिः एकपाक्षिकः कश्चन कार्यक्रमः समाचर्यते। तस्मिन् सन्दर्भे अहम् अत्र समागतान् सर्वान् अतिथीन् सम्प्रार्थये कृपया वेदिकाम् अलङ्कुर्वन्तु। तत्र क्रमशः अस्य राष्ट्रीयसंस्कृतविश्वविद्यालयस्य कुलपतयः आचार्याः प्रोफेसर् GSR कृष्णमूर्तिमहोदयाः कृपया आगत्य वेदिकाम् अलङ्कुर्वन्तु इति सम्प्रार्थयामि। तथैव राष्ट्रीयसंस्कृतविश्वविद्यालयस्य कुलसचिवाः भवन्ति कमाण्डर् चल्ला वेङ्कटेश्वर महोदयाः, तानपि सम्प्रार्थये कृपया वेदिकाम् अलङ्कुर्वन्तु इति। तथैव अस्य कार्यक्रमस्य मुख्यातिथयः भवन्ति आचार्याः टी सीताकुमारी महोदयाः। एषा विधिविभागात् आगता अस्ति। अस्माकं श्री पद्मावती महिला विश्वविद्यालयस्य विधिविभागात् समागता अस्ति। तासां कृतेपि अहं सम्प्रार्थयामि कृपया वेदिकाम् अलङ्कुर्वन्तु इति। तथैव अस्य कार्यक्रमस्य संयोजिकाः सन्ति अस्माकम् आङ्ग्लविभागस्य आचार्या प्रोफेसर् आर् दीप्ता महोदया, तामपि सम्प्रार्थये कृपया वेदिकाम् अलङ्कुर्वन्तु इति। सभायै नमः। सर्वेषां च अत्र स्वागतं। यथा परम्परा अस्माभिः अस्यापि कार्यक्रमस्य शुभारम्भः मन्त्रपठनेन क्रियते, अतः वेदभाष्यछात्राः आह्वयन्ते। कृपया आगत्य मन्त्रपाठेन अस्य कार्यक्रमस्य समारम्भं कुर्वन्तु इति।
ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। आ ब्रह्मन् ब्राह्मणो ब्रह्मा परतसी जायताम राष्ट्रे राजन्यः शूर एषव्योतिव्याधि महारथो जायताम् दोग्ध्रे धेनुर्वोढा नडुवानासु सपतिः पुरन्धर्योसा जिष्णुरथेष्ठा सभेयो युवास्य यजमानस्य वीरो जायताम् निकामे नः पर्जन्यो वर्षतु फलवत्यो न ओजसः प्रत्यन्ताम् योगक्षेमो नः कल्पताम्। हरिः ओम्।
धन्यवादाः। सम्प्रति दीपप्रज्वालनेन अस्य कार्यक्रमस्य आरम्भः भवतु इति। अतः मञ्चस्थान् अतिथीन् सम्प्रार्थये कृपया दीपप्रज्वालनं कुर्वन्तु इति। उसको देख लीजिए। सम्प्रति सरस्वती वन्दनां कर्तुम् अहं प्रियं वदा एवं तस्याः गणः तान् सम्प्रार्थये कृपया आगत्य सरस्वती वन्दनां कुर्वन्तु इति।
शारदे करुणानिधे सकलानवाम्ब सदा जनान् शारदे करुणानिधे सकलानवाम्ब सदा जनान् चारणादिमगीतवैभव पूरिताखिलदीक्तते शारदे करुणानिधे सकलानवाम्ब सदा जनान् चारणादिमगीतवैभव पूरिताखिलदीक्तते शारदे करुणानिधे सकलानवाम्ब सदा जनान् भर्मभूषण भूषिते वररत्न मौळि विराजिते भर्मभूषण भूषिते वररत्न मौळि विराजिते शर्मदायिनि कर्ममोचिनि निर्मलं कुरु मानसं शर्मदायिनि कर्ममोचिनि निर्मलं कुरु मानसं शारदे करुणानिधे सकलानवाम्ब सदा जनान् चारणादिमगीतवैभव पूरिताखिल दीक्तते शारदे करुणानिधे सकलानवाम्ब सदा जनान् हस्तसन्धृत पुस्तकाक्षपटी सुधारस मुद्रिके हस्तसन्धृत पुस्तकाक्षपटी सुधारस मुद्रिके कस्तवस्तिः वर्णने चतुरो नरः खचरोऽथवा कस्तवस्तिः वर्णने चतुरो नरः खचरोऽथवा शारदे करुणानिधे सकलानवाम्ब सदा जनान् चारणादिमगीतवैभव पूरिताखिल दीक्तते शारदे करुणानिधे सकलानवाम्ब सदा जनान्
प्रियं वदाये धन्यवादाः। यथा श्रुतं कृते च रेणुकाशक्तिः त्रेतायां जानकी तथा द्वापरे द्रौपदी शक्तिः कलौ शक्ति गृहे गृहे प्रतिगृहं शक्तयः सन्ति इति अस्माभिः अनुभोक्तुं शक्यते, द्रष्टुमपि शक्यते। अस्मिन् सन्दर्भे स्वागतभाषणाय अहम् आङ्ग्लविभागस्य आचार्यां प्रोफेसर् दीप्ता महोदयां सम्प्रार्थये।
A warm good evening to one and all. We are gathered here to observe the International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women, and this has been ordained by Ministry of Education, Government of India. And on this occasion, I deem it an honor to welcome our own GSR sir. I can't see him like anything else but our own GSR sir. A poet par excellence, a preeminent scholar, and a competent administrator. I need not say these things because our own GSR sir includes everything. I welcome him to this meeting. And it is my privilege to welcome the registrar of this university, Commander Chella Venkateshwar. What should I say? He never minces matters regarding administration. And he is the hard taskmaster face is, I think, a facade. Because once we go and greet him, that childlike smile comes up, welcoming us into the chamber. And we welcome you very warmly, sir, to the meeting. I consider it my good fortune to welcome Professor T. Sita Kumari, Professor of Law from SPMVV, Mahila Vishwavidyalayam. I had met her quite a few years ago in a committee meeting in Vidyapitha for the first time. What struck me was that she was so knowledgeable, but she was so humble. Nindu konda tonakadu, as we say. I was prattling my own opinion about everything, but she was sitting there calm and quiet. I remember Professor Ramashri telling me after the meeting was over, look at her. She was watching everything. She was listening to everything. She knew what really has happened. I think you remember, madam, that conversation has happened between us. And she had a very, very successful career. She began her career as a lecturer in Ambedkar Government College, Pondicherry. Then she moved over to SV University as associate professor. Then she joined Mahila University as professor. And she has had quite a number of research publications, 9 international and 14 national. She has attended scores of national and international conferences, seminars, and even organized a few of them. She is on the editorial board of international and national journals, and she has had very popular research books to her credit. She has held administrative positions like Nodal Officer in Legal Matters in SPMVV, served as Liaison Officer in the Mahila University, BOS Chairperson Yogi Vemana University, Kadapa, and Vikramasingapuri University, Nellore. She has been on the ragging committee of her own university, as well as I have mentioned, prevention of sexual harassment in our Vidyapitha too, when it was Vidyapitha. Then she has been on the board of studies of Nagarjuna University, Bangalore University, Usmania, and Kakatiya universities. Madam, it's a great privilege to be listening to you today, and I hope we all will be better for listening to your pieces of advice today. Thank you. I'm extremely sorry. I forgot to welcome you all who have it's a grave mistake on my part, and I forgot to welcome you all, my colleagues, senior professors in the university, on whose shoulders the burden of the university is resting on. I would like to welcome other staff members, non-teaching staff members, and others. I heartily welcome the students who have taken, though some of them were in a doubt whether boys can come to a so-called Women's Day celebration or not. But with all their doubts, they have come here, they have attended. I am very grateful to you all, and I welcome you with all my heart. And I'm extremely sorry for this lapse that has happened. And now,
Thank you, madam. I request Professor Deepta madam to welcome Professor T. Sita Kumari madam now with a small bouquet as a token of love and respect from us, madam. Please accept it. I request हरि ओम् अत्र आगच्छ कुलपतीनामपि स्वागतम् अनेन पुष्पगुच्छेन क्रियते कुलसचिवानामपि स्वागतं पुष्पगुच्छेन महोदयाभिः क्रियते धन्यवादः महोदय तुम दे दो I request Bulti, Dr. Bulti Das Madam to welcome Professor Deepta Madam. अमरोक्तरीत्या मनुष्यवर्गः एवं कथयति स्त्रीयोषित अबलायोषा नारी सीमन्तिनी वधू प्रदीपदर्शिनी वामा वनिता महिला तथा सुंदरी रमणी रमा कोपना सैव भामिनी वरारोहा मत्तकाशिनी उत्तमा वरवर्णिनी अर्थात उत्कृष्ट महिलानां वर्णनम् अस्माकम् अमरे एवम् उक्तं वर्तते इति स्मरन्तः वयं कार्यक्रमम् अग्रे सारयामः सम्प्रति अस्य राष्ट्रीयसंस्कृतविश्वविद्यालयस्य कुलसचिवमहोदयान् कमाण्डर् छल्ला वेङ्कटेश्वर महोदयान् सम्प्रार्थे कृपया आगत्य स्ववचोभिः अस्मान् उद्बोधयन्तु इति
Thank you, Madam. Andarki Namaskaram. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor J.S.R. Krishnamurthy Garu, Professor T. Sita Kumari Garu, and Professor Deepta Garu, and all the senior faculty members, students who are present here. I'll try and make it as brief as possible, less than 2 minutes, so that we all will have the pleasure of listening to our chief guest, T. Sita Kumari Garu. Today, as Madam has already mentioned, that we are observing International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women. I'm glad they have not put prevention of violence against women, but I was looking for eradication of violence against women. Probably that's the state we hope to reach in the years and days to come. So that requires no further mention. I'm sure many of you would have consulted the internet websites on the subject. There is one website, unwomen.org, unwomen.org. I request all of you to visit that website and go through it. It narrates everything that is connected with the topic that we are discussing today. That goes to everybody, even boys and girls, everyone can go through it, because each individual has a role to play in elimination or eradication of violence against women. That's why I am requesting you to go through that. In our university, we have a vibrant internal complaints committee under the leadership of Professor Deepta Garu, and they have been addressing various concerns that have been coming in our way in our university very effectively and in time. So I would like to thank Madam and all his members and request them to continue the same good work. At the same time, all those who are present here, if you are not aware of what this ICC is all about, you may go to our university website, about us. There you have ICC. If you go and see, you'll be able to see all the members who are present in that particular committee, and each one is well aware of the needs of all students, particularly women students. So their help will always be available to anyone who needs it. So without any hesitation, you could approach them, and I am sure they will provide best of the recourse available. Coming to the topic, violence against women. Who causes this violence? Who perpetuates this violence against women? Any takers? Who does this violence? Since it is against women, does it mean it is done by the men against the women? or even women also cause violence against the women. So this is something I'm sure all of us can ponder over it. Violence caused by anybody is violence irrespective of the gender. So there is no gender bias insofar as the perpetrator of violence is concerned, but the person who is the victim, today's subject is women, so I'm sure we'll get to know more about those aspects, particularly from our chief guest. So broadly, these violations, if we were to look at it, obviously it is physical violence, psychological violence, sexual violence, economic violence, and so many other ways of violences that we can think of are present. It's not that it's happening only in our country. It's not that it's happening only to our women in this country. It's omnipresent all over the world, to the extent that this subject has been taken up by United Nations way back in 1996, and they formulated UN Women Charter to address the issues connected with women violence and how they are to be countered, how they are to be addressed, what are the ways in which the help can be rendered to women, is all codified. And this goes to say that all across the world, women are subject to this kind of violence. So if any one of you as an individual, particularly the youngsters, feel that you are alone in this world who are being subjected to a kind of violence, please don't think you are alone. It's a worldwide phenomena. It may be that your own friend next to you also may be subjected to some kind of a violence or the other. So the first thing to overcome this trauma by an individual who is suffering is to come out and discuss it with the people whom you are friendly, whom you trust most, and try to discuss and find some solutions to address this kind of violation. If we are talking about violations happening with the person with whom you are in relationship, it could be a women to women having a friendly relationship, which also might have translated into some kind of a violence, or it could be a relationship between boy and girl, where there is a kind of trouble being made by one partner onto the other. It is very, very common, particularly as youngsters. You are looking at the world differently. You all come out of your homes and then stay in universities and hostels. Your ideas are opening up to the world. So everything you find is exciting. You suddenly feel that there is a greater degree of freedom that you are today. That opens up you and yourself to the relationships with many others. It's a common thing. Once there is a kind of intimacy develops between, let's say, boy and girl or so, then one starts feeling that the other person is private to him or her. And that's the feeling starts generating various insecurities in that particular individual. If a boy were to be feeling a great sense of belongingness of the other partner, then he starts feeling insecure and starts trying to control the other partner. He wants to control where she is going. He wants to control with whom she is interacting, how much time she is interacting, to the extent that he wants to know what SMSs are being sent by her, what messages are being sent by her, whom they are being sent. He also wants a control to the extent that he wants to know the passwords of the social media sites that individual girl may be having. So in a way, he wants to control everything. He doesn't like her or him going to anybody else or sharing space with anyone else. So it could be happening innocently in an individual's youth. But let's be aware of such kind of feelings emerging with the kind of relationships that youngsters may be developing in their younger days. These are very common. You feel possessive about the partner, therefore you want to control everything. This control may happen from girl to the boy, boy to the girl, and so on and so forth. And when this belongingness, possessiveness goes beyond a particular point, that's the time the violence starts. Then he will start blackmailing you. He will start controlling your texts. He will start dictating where to spend money, where not to spend money, whom to talk, whom not to talk, and so on and so forth. So you should be aware that there are various ways in which the controls keep happening. That's the time you should be clearly alerted that you are subjected to violence. And that's the time you must come out of that feeling and start interacting with your close confidants and then try and find a solution. Don't keep everything to yourself. As Madam said, today we are observing this International Elimination of Violence Day. We are not only observing, we are actually celebrating as per the UN mandate this particular day. One may be wondering what is that we are celebrating. It's something which has to be worried about, not celebrated about. But the fact that the kind of meetings that we are having today is happening all over the world, bringing about the awareness amongst all the people of this world and making them aware of it and finding solutions how to tackle it and emerge out of these violations and remain as a strong woman. So in other words, we can always celebrate it to say that we have solutions to the problem. It's not that it cannot be addressed. It's just that you need to come out, share your issues with the others. We also have ICC team. I'm sure you can share with them. Soon we are planning to have counselors also available in this university. It may be a couple of months, but definitely they are going to be there in our university. You could always go and have a discussion and take guidance from them. So with that, you are not alone. We are all with you. All of us are with each other. And I'm sure we'll be able to address this issue and reach a stage of eradicating the issue. Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
कुलसचिवमहोदयेभ्यः धन्यवादाः। एभिः यः सन्देशः वस्तुतः प्रदत्तः स च सन्देशः अत्यन्तं महत्त्वपूर्णः भवति अस्माकं सर्वेषां कृते। अमुमेव विषयम् आधारीकृत्य मनसीकृत्य अस्माभिः एकपाक्षिके अस्मिन् उत्सवे अस्मिन् कार्यक्रमे नैकाः स्पर्धाः अस्माभिः आयोजिष्यन्ते। न केवलं स्पर्धाः अपि तु कार्यशालाः अपि आयोजिष्यन्ते, यत्र छात्राणां कृते पृथक् भवति, अपि च अध्यापकानां शिक्षणेतरकर्मचारिणां कृते अपि पृथक् भवति। समये समये सूचनाः यथासमयम् अस्माभिः प्रदीयते। इत्युक्त्वा कार्यक्रमम् अहम् अग्रे सारयामि। तत्र अध्यक्ष अस्य कार्यक्रमस्य मुख्यातिथयः भवन्ति आचार्याः टी सीताकुमारी महोदयाः। एताः श्री पद्मावती महिला विश्वविद्यालयात् विधिविभागात् समागताः सन्ति। एतान् अहं सम्प्रार्थयामि आगत्य अस्माकं कृते उद्बोधयन्तु इति। मैडम, I request you to address the gathering. Please come over.
My respects to the president of this function. I cannot say that this is a function or celebration, but we are observing this day as a day to end the elimination against women. My respects to the president, Honorable Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor G.S.R. Krishnamurti Garu. My respects to the guest of honor, Shri Challa Venkateshwar Garu. And I thank the coordinator of this function and her team for inviting me. And I welcome all of you, my friend here, and all the faculty of this university, the students, and the elders who are present here. So now let me talk about this day. As said earlier, this is not a day of celebration. This is a day to observe and to bring awareness among the other gender that there is violence which is happening to the women, and there is a need to put an end to this violence. So violence cannot be inevitable. It can be stopped. And when we take the perspective from the international angle, so let me talk about the international scenario first and then come to our India. So when we talk about the international perspective, United Nations is an organization which controls the relation of all the world countries. Relation in the sense maybe of war, maybe of culture, or the other types of relation among the countries. So under the direction of United Nations, this day, that is 25th, is being observed as a day to end violence or discrimination against women. And this has started, and you all know, as Professor was telling, that this is not an issue to the women of India alone. This is an issue to all the women in and around the globe. And that's the reason why United Nations has taken an initiation to put an end for this type of violence as well as the discrimination. And who is causing it? That's a different question. But the real fact is she is subjected to discrimination. Now coming to the United Nations, in the year 1979, it has conducted a declaration or a convention called CEDAW, C-E-D-A-W, which says that it is a convention on elimination of discrimination against women. So this was conducted in the year 1979, and all through, it was for about 10 years, it called it as the decade of the year for the women. And after that, in the year 1993, so this convention did not help the women of the globe, and so in the year 1993, again the United Nations has asked to have a declaration on elimination of violence against women. So this is a declaration to put an end against the women, against the violation which is being done on women. Likewise, in India, coming back to India, this is the international scenario. And when it comes to India, India is a country which is rich in its culture, heritage. And yes, you cannot have people with the same minds all through the generations, because the society will always be changing, and the change is the inevitable result of a society. And the people will be changing according to the changes in the society. So after the independence of this country in the year 1950, we had made our own constitution. That's the law of the land. The constitution, tomorrow we are going to observe the Constitution Day, which is an important day for the life of every Indian. So, and in the year 2014, before that we used to celebrate it as Law Day, but in the year 2014, it was changed as Constitution Day because the government wanted every citizen of this country to know the spirit behind the Constitution. So it made as the Constitution Day, and this is the law of the land. Our Constitution is the law of the land. And it starts with the words, "We the people of India." So it says that we the people of India, we have given to ourselves this Constitution. And taking that basic law with all ingredients like justice, equality, liberty, fraternity, we carried on our goals, our dreams after independence. So with that, we made several laws. And for that matter, I always say that if a law is made on any subject, it means that the society is deteriorating, because law is meant to control the deviant behavior of an individual in a society. And when once you say that there are number of laws in this country, it means that the country is deteriorating. So likewise, let us apply the same phenomena to women also. We in India, we say that we have no dearth of the laws for the protection of women. But still, when you open the paper, you can see that some sort of atrocity is being committed against a woman. And it went to a stage that it is being committed against a small girl. So the first cry for a woman in this country has become like, "Let me be born alive." Because the parents, they are killing the fetus if they find it as the girl fetus. So technology has helped the parents also. And when an instrument in medicine has been founded, has been invented to find the position of the fetus in the mother's womb, they have changed, misused it, and started detecting the sex of the baby in the mother's womb. And when they found it that it is a girl, the parents started killing the girl in the womb itself. So the first cry for a girl in this country is, "Let me be born alive." And we should be thankful to our parents because they allowed us to be born alive. And the next one, where a woman has to get protection, is when she is going to the school. Even today, you have many incidents which are happening in the schools against the girls who are very, very innocent. So the women's struggle is not when she comes to the college, but it starts even before her birth. And then when it comes to college, you have many, many incidents happening, and even the boys are dare enough to go to the girls' house and killing them in their houses itself. So what I mean to say here is, there are laws, but what has happened to these laws? Are they having any defect? Or the defect, whether it is in the process of implementation, or what is happening to all these laws? We made the laws to control the deviant behavior of the individual in the society. But what has happened to all of them? Why are not they protecting the girls, the women? So when we put a question like this, when we put a question, where to end this violence, how it has begun, there is no answer for that. And where is the end? Again, there is no answer. So when it comes to violence, as I said, in the year 93, we had the Declaration on Elimination of Violence against Women. They have concentrated and came out with a word called gender violence. So this gender violence, it has been defined as a violence against the woman in the areas of psychology, economics, her economic status, and physical as well as sexual. So this was considered to be a comprehensive definition. And this same definition has been incorporated in India in various laws. So right from her birth, there came a need to protect her. And that's why a law has been made to stop this sort of detection of fetus in the mother's womb. So whenever there is misuse of a practice, then there is a need to have a law. So my hypothetical statement that when there are laws, many laws, means we are not fortunate. We are in a very unfortunate condition. So when we talk about these laws, the first law is to protect her to come out from the mother's womb alive. And we have the laws relating to, guidelines relating to ragging. And then when the woman gets education, after lots and lots of struggle, gets education and goes to employment, again, there were shown discrimination, there was violence in that, in the form of harassment. And today I say that, I'm not saying that all men are bad and all women are good. But when we take the proportion is always high in number. So when this has happened, the government of India, it made an act called Prevention of Sexual Harassment in Workplace. And this has come out with an incident that a woman who was working as a nurse, she went to a place asking the husband, because she was a nurse and she went there to cure a woman, and she asked the husband to go for family planning operation because the women's health is not good. And because the nurse has asked that and she is working in the government, he got irritated and he and his friends raped her. So this caused an uproar among the women in India, and there came a need to protect them in the workplace. So the law is very stringent, and that's how we have ICC, not only in the workplaces, but also in all educational institutions. That became compulsory. And any incident of this harassment is not tolerated at any cost. So that's what the law says. So this is the picture of the women when she comes to the employment, the violence against women when she comes to employment. But let me talk about the married woman. So when the woman gets education, gets married, and we had the menace of dowry. So the dowry is always a menace, a social menace. And the law has come again to prevent the giving and taking of dowry. It was in the year 1961. But initially, this dowry was taken as stridana because the woman, the parents of the girl, in those days, the girls were not having that sort of education, employment. And so they used to give out of love and affection to the girls. Later on, this love and affection had the backing of some force from the groom's side. And this force, again, was accompanied with violence, threat. And this violence went to the extent of killing her. And this is what we call in law as dowry deaths. So these dowry deaths, they became prevalent in India. This is also one sort of violence against married women. And the government of India, it made an act called the Dowry Prohibition Act. And this act, it just says that giving and taking of dowry is prohibited, is an offense. No stringent measures are given under that act. But you have in India a code called Indian Penal Code. And that's the code which talks about the crimes committed in India by all persons, not women or man, etc. It's gender neutral legislation. So the Indian Penal Code, it talks about the acts which are prohibited in this country. So a person asked, what is the most ethical book in India? He answered that it is Indian Penal Code because it says not to do. It always talks saying that not to do this act. If you do, you are punished. So this Indian Penal Code, it was changed because the violence against women in cases of dowry has increased, and so it became inevitable for the parliamentarians to change Indian Penal Code. And they added a small provision like that if any woman dies under 7 years, under unnatural circumstances, within 7 years of marriage, unnatural circumstances, under suspicious circumstances, within 7 years of marriage, then the law says it is dowry death. It says clearly it is the dowry death, and the police immediately will take into custody the husband. And before that, it's not alone the husband, the parents of the groom, the relatives of the groom, they were taken into custody. But as I said, the society changes and the mindset of the people changes. And the Supreme Court, which is considered to be the highest court in India, situated at Delhi, it found that there is the misuse of this provision by the women. That's why I said not all men are bad or all women are good. So the women started misusing this provision. And what they said is 90% of the cases relating to this sort of harassment is not real. And immediately the Supreme Court has given guidelines to the police saying that don't make immediate arrest. You give 2 months cooling period. In that cooling period, both the couple has to come before the family welfare committees. So immediate arrests cannot be made now, and they have to be placed before family welfare committees under the Family Courts Act. We have family courts dealing with only family matters. Every district will be having family court. So after this, after dowry, there I'm talking about the violence against married women. And it continued. It never stopped. And in the year 2005, the government of India made another enactment called Prevention of Domestic Violence Act. So there it is dowry prohibition, and now the words have changed, and it said that it is domestic violence. And what do you mean by domestic violence? The violence, it's not alone in the marital house, but it includes the violence committed by the parents against the girl, by the relatives against the girl, and the people who are known to the girl. And where does this start? They start against the acts which are committed against the girl children when they are in the schooling age. So the violence is never ending in spite of the international obligation, in spite of the constitutional obligation, in spite of the laws which are meant for the women in specific, the violence is not ending. And when we sort out what are the reasons for this never-ending violence, it is the younger generation who has to answer. Where to put an end? How to put an end? Are the laws sufficient to tackle this sort of violence, which is generating in very, very new forms in the society? Is the law reflecting the needs of the women in the society? For all these questions, the only answer which I can give is the value-based education, good parenting. So only when this comes, a good family, always we say in sociology that the family is the basic unit of a society. The family should always be strong. Only then the society will be strong. If the roots of the family are weak, then you can find this sort of society wherein every day we are finding violence against the woman. So this is, and even when you read the papers, you can find the atrocities which are committed against the women, irrespective of the age, and that is the offense of rape. So here this has started, this horrible journey of rape has started. Again, it was made as a crime in Indian Penal Code, but still it went on. And one incident which has happened is a woman along with her brother went to a police station to give a complaint. The police, they have sent back the brother and committed rape against her. Again, the women in this country, only when the woman raises her voice, the answer will be given by the government. That's what is happening in this country. So immediately the women raised their voice and they had certain amendments to the existing criminal laws. And they said that one of the provision is when any woman goes to a public servant for help, and if that public servant commits the offense, then he will be given life imprisonment. So that sort of, amendments came, and you had the drastic incident of Nirbhaya. And again the amendments came, and the amendments answered that it is the woman who has to be protected, and it's not life imprisonment, you have to give death penalty. And the whole of the criminal process has to be made speedy. That's what that amendment said. Because the lacuna in law is the delay in the process. And that's the reason why the offenders, they are scot-free. And the government of India thought, let them be made very speedy. And here, the Nirbhaya's case has given the speedy process of the trial. Yes, there is an amendment again. And when we put a question again, whether this has stopped, no. So it is every day increasing, day by day increasing. And how to stop, where to stop? It's not just these days, observance of these days, but a culture has to be imbibed in the other gender to respect women and not to see a woman along with her body parts. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
महिलानां विभिन्नाः अवस्थाः, विभिन्नासु अवस्थासु ताभिः काः समस्याः अनुभूयन्ते, अपि च तासां समवायः ताभिः कथं वा क्रियते, अपि च समाजे विभिन्नसन्दर्भाः कथम् आयान्ति, तेषां परिष्कारः अपि च दण्डविधयः कथं सन्ति इति महोदयाभिः प्रतिपादितं। ताभ्यः उद्बोधितवतीभ्यः हार्दाः धन्यवादाः. Thank you so much for a thoughtful presentation, ma'am. It was really mind-opening. सम्प्रति विश्वविद्यालयस्य अस्य कुलपतयः आचार्याः आशुकवयः प्रोफेसर् GSR कृष्णमूर्तिमहोदयान् सम्प्रार्थे कृपया आगत्य अध्यक्षभाषणं कुर्वन्तु इति.
Srimatre Namaha. We have two personalities, calm-going persons. One of those, our respected registrar, he is calm-going person. That's why he became commander. He is commanding our whole administration. And other personality is T. Sita Kumari. He is also calm-going person. That's why he commanding the woman power. She is also here. सर्वप्रथमम् अस्माकं स्वागतभाषणे अवर् जि एस् आर् इत्युक्ते यदि भवति चेत् तदैव करोमि इति मम अभिप्रायः तद् भवति। तत् ताभिः प्रतिपादितं। वेदीम् अलङ्कुर्वाणाः आदरणीयाः कुलसचिवमहोदयाः, अद्यतन मुख्यवक्त्र्यः श्रीमती प्रोफेसर टी सीताकुमारी महाभागाः, अत्रैव मुख्यसंयोजिकाः दीप्ता महाभागा, एवञ्च अस्माकमेव सुते भवतः वैष्णवी बुल्टीदास्, अनन्तरञ्च केचन संकायप्रमुखाः, अस्माकं संस्कृतसंकायप्रमुखा ललिताराणी, एवमेव अत्र विद्यमानाः विभागाध्यक्षाः सतीश महोदयाः, गणपतिभट्टमहोदयाः, नामतः किं वक्तव्यं, नारायण बलचक्रवर्ती, भरतभूषण, चंद्रशेखरम्, एते सर्वेपि अस्माकं कादम्बिनी महाभागा, इतराश्च सर्वेभ्यः नमो वाकाः। अद्यतन कार्यक्रमः किम् उत्सवकार्यक्रमो नास्ति, जागरूककार्यक्रमः भवति। यतः सर्वेषां कृते यं जागरूकता अपेक्षिता तदेव अस्माकं विशिष्टातिथिभिः प्रतिपादितम्। इदञ्च किमर्थमिदमागतम्, अधुना स्त्रियोषिदबला नारी इति उक्तवती। अबलायाः अहिंसायाश्च कः सम्बन्धः? अबला भवति चेत् अहिंसा न कर्तव्या इति अत्रैव वर्तते। तर्हि अहिंसायाः प्रश्नः एव नास्ति। तर्हि कथम् अहिंसा भवति इति अस्माकं मुख्यवक्त्री टी सीताकुमारी महाभागा सम्यक् प्रतिपादितवती। विभिन्नासु अवस्थासु भ्रूणहत्याः भवन्ति, तत् अधुनापि भवन्ति वा इति सन्देहः। किन्तु किञ्चित् पूर्वं यदि कदाचित् गर्भे बाला भवति चेत् सद्यः भ्रूणहत्या क्रियते इति ततः आरभ्य अधुनातनपर्यन्तं यावत्याः समस्याः भवन्ति निर्भयापर्यन्तं, तासां समस्यानां समाधानाय भारतसर्वकारः बहु प्रयासं करोति। एकवारं वयं गच्छेम अस्माकं पुरातनविषयेषु, परदारेषु मातृवत्। इदञ्च अवश्यं तत्र अस्माभिः ज्ञातव्यं भवति। यदि कदाचित् तत्र रामायणे यदा लक्ष्मणः रामश्च किष्किन्धायां सीतायाः आभरणानि वानरैः आनीतानि दृष्टानि, तस्मिन् समये रामः बहु बाष्पैः आकुलः आसीत्, द्रष्टुं न प्रभवति। पश्यतु, इमानि आभरणानि तस्या एव भवन्ति वा इति। तदानीं सः कथितवान्, नाहं जानामि केयूरे, नाहं जानामि कुण्डले, नूपुरे त्वभिजानामि नित्यं पादाभिवन्दनात्। अयञ्च कदाचिदपि सीतायाः मुखं न दृष्टवान्, केयूरापि न दृष्टवान्। मुखमेव न दृष्टवान् चेत् कुण्डले द्रष्टुं कथं प्रभवति? केयूरे ततः नीचैरपि न गतवान्, केयूरे कथं द्रष्टुं शक्नोति? केवलं तदेव जानामि, सीता पादाभिवन्दनात् नूपुरे तु अभिजानामि इति। एतादृशी स्थितिः यदि भवति सर्वेषां, तदानीमेव इयम् अहिंसायाः प्रसङ्गः एव न भवति। तर्हि अहिंसायाः प्रसङ्गः एव न भवति चेत् तस्य निरोधस्य विषये एलिमिनेशन् आफ् वैलेन्स् कथं भवति? नैव भवति। इदमेव कथयति। अधुना इयं कथयति द्रौपदी शक्तिः इति। गृहे गृहे शक्तिर्वर्तते। इमामेव शक्तिं कथयन्ति अस्माकं त्रिमूर्तीनां विषये। श्रीवाणी गिरिजाश्चिराय दधतो वक्षो मुखाङ्गेषु ये। श्रीः वक्षस्थले स्थापितवान् अस्माकं भगवान् वेङ्कटेश्वरः, अत एव श्रीनिवासः। वाणी मुखे स्थापितवान् ब्रह्मा। चतुर्मुखमुखाम्भोजकलहंस वधूर्मम मानसे रमतां नित्यं सर्वशुक्ला सरस्वती इति प्रार्थयते। इत्युक्ते मुखे एव स्थापितवान्। यदा कदापि कथयति चेत् स्वपत्न्याः एव नाम गृह्णाति। तावत्पर्यन्तं किमर्थं? यदि अग्नये आहुतिः दीयते तदानीं स्वाहा इति यावत्पर्यन्तं न वदाम आहुतिं न गृह्णाति अग्निः। स्वाहा का भवति? अग्नेः पत्नी एव भवति। अतः पत्न्याः नामोच्चारणसमनन्तरमेव आहुतिं गृह्णाति इति तत्र कथ्यते अग्नये स्वाहा इति। तत्रापि पश्यन्तु, मुखे तत्स्थापितवान् ब्रह्मा, अर्धशरीरमेव दत्तवान् शङ्करः। एतादृश त्रिमूर्ति कान्सेप्ट् यद् वर्तते तत् नार्याः कियत् स्थानं वर्तते इति वयं ज्ञातुं शक्नुमः। तावत्पर्यन्तं किमर्थम्? अस्माकं शङ्कराचार्यः शिवशक्त्या युक्तो यदि भवति शक्तः प्रभवितुं। शिवः शक्त्या युक्त एव सः प्रभवति, चलितुं प्रभवति। शि इति इकारः तत्र शक्तिस्वरूप बीजम् इति कथ्यते। शि त्यजामः, शवः इति शि इकारं न भवति चेत् शवः भवति। तर्हि एतादृशी कल्पना या वर्तते सा एव कल्पना अस्माकं भारतीयां संस्कृतिं परिरक्षितवती। मध्ये एतादृश सम्प्रदायाः सर्वेपि छिन्नाः भिन्नाः जाताः। तेनैव कारणेन अबलानां सा अहिंसाप्रसङ्गः आगतः। तत्र द्रौपदी तदानीम् इतोपि बृहत्तरदुर्घटना भवति। सभायाम् आनीय ये दुःशासनः वस्त्रापहरणं करोति ततः परं किमपि तादृश अहिंसा न भवति। तदानीमेव सा स्वकीयजटाकलापं त्यक्त्वा वेणीविश्लेषणं कृत्वा प्रतिज्ञां कृत्वा पुनः महाभारतयुद्धस्य कारणीभूता जाता। तत्र चञ्चिद्भुजभ्रमितचण्डगदाभिघातसञ्चूर्णितोरुयुगलस्य सुयोधनस्य स्यानावबद्ध घनशोणितशोणपाणिः उत्तंसयिष्यति कचांस्तव देवि भीमः। तावत्पर्यन्तं सा किमपि नोक्तवती। पदे 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 शक्तिं प्रेरयति, माम् एवं कृतवान् इति। राक्षसवत् भीमः महाभारतयुद्धे तस्य रुधिरं उरच्छेदनं कृत्वा रुधिरमपि पीत्वा हस्तेन रक्तं रुधिरं स्वीकृत्य यावता सा द्रौपद्याः केशान् न संहृतवान् तावत्पर्यन्तं सा तृप्ता न जाता। एतादृश्याः सीतायाः पिता एव किल। सीतायाः उपरि किड्नाप् कृतं, कः कृतवान् इति न ज्ञायते। तादृशाः दुर्घटनाः आसन्। तासां दुर्घटनानाम् अहिंसानां प्रतीकारोपि तत्र वर्णितः। एतत् सम्यक्तया अस्माभिः संलक्ष्यते चेत् कस्याः हिंसां करोति। अधुना डौरी विषये कथितं नाम तत् कथ्यते स्त्रीधनं कदापि न उपयोक्तव्यं। स्त्रीधनस्य तादृशं महत्त्वं वर्तते यावत्पर्यन्तं सा स्वयम् उपयुञ्जात् तावत्पर्यन्तं किमर्थम्? अस्माकं वेतनम् आयाति किल, वेतनमपि तस्याः हस्ते देयमिति अस्माकं विवाहमन्त्रेषु वर्तते। यतः सा एव अधिकारिणी भवति। यत्किमपि देयं चेत् मम कृते एकपैसा ददातु, रूप्यकं ददातु, तथा एव स्वीकर्तव्यं भवति। एवं रूपेण तद् वर्तते किल। दम्पत्योः सः अधिकारः पत्युर्नो यज्ञसंयोगे इमानि सूत्राण्यपि तदेव कथयति। यदि एकाकी गत्वा अहं कदाचित् गौहती मध्ये तत्र कामाख्या दर्शनं कृतवान् चेत् फलं न आयाति। यावत्पर्यन्तं पत्नी न भवति तावत्पर्यन्तं कदाचिदपि न भवति। अधिकारः एव नास्ति, फलमपि न याति। उभाभ्यां गन्तव्यं, तदानीमेव तीर्थयात्रायाः फलं भवति। तस्मात् श्रीमद्भागवते वर्तते याम् आश्रित्य इन्द्रियारातीन् दुर्जेयान् इतराश्रमैः वयं जयेम हेलाभिः दस्यून् दुर्गपतिर्यथा। तत् कथयति कश्यपप्रजापतिः कथयति दितये। तत् कथयति याम् आश्रित्य इमाम् आश्रित्यैव इन्द्रियारातीन् इन्द्रियशत्रून् वयं जयेम हेलाभिः अनायासपूर्वकं वयं जयेम। यतः दुर्जेयान् इतराश्रमैः, कदाचित् ब्रह्मचर्याश्रमे वा भवतु, सन्न्यासाश्रमे वा भवतु, अन्यत्र यत्र कुत्र वानप्रस्थे वा भवतु, तत्र कदाचिदपि इन्द्रियरोधः कर्तुं न शक्यते। एतादृश अधिकारो वर्तते पत्न्यां स्त्री। अत एव कथयन्ति, मनुः कथयति, किं कथयति, यत्र नार्यस्तु पूज्यन्ते रमन्ते तत्र देवताः। इतः परं किं वक्तव्यम्? अतः भवत्यः सर्वाः अपि अस्माकं सर्वमपि कृत्वा किम् अपेक्षितं? विशेषतः अहं प्रबोधयामि सर्वाः सर्वानपि अस्माकम् IPC तदस्ति किल, एकैकं पत्रं प्रतिदिनं पठन्तु। तत्र स्त्रीणां विषये किं लिखितं, तेषाम् अहिंसाः काः भवन्ति, तासां निवारणं किं भवति, कथं भवति इति वयं कीन्लि वी अब्जर्व् दि IPC, तदानीं वयं सुरक्षिता भवेम। विशेषतः अद्य अनेकाः छात्र अध्यापिकाः अपि आगताः, कारणं तेषाम् इदम् अवेर्नेस् प्रोग्राम् भवति। भवत्यः सर्वदा तं चिन्तयन्तु। कदाचित् తెలుగులో అంటారు కదా, ఆడదానికి ఆడదే శత్రువు అంటే, నువ్వు అత్తగారు అని చెప్పారనుకోండి, ఆ అత్తగారితనం చూపిస్తుంది. అమ్మా నువ్వు కోడలువే ఇంతకుముందు, ఇప్పుడు వచ్చేప్పుడు నీకేమిటి ఈ కొత్త కిరీటం వచ్చింది, ఇలా నువ్వు ఎందుకు చేస్తున్నావు? ఒక్కసారి మీరంతా కూడా ఆలోచించండి. ఇక్కడ వాళ్ళంతా మన పిల్లలే, మీరంతా కూడా అత్తగారులు అవుతారు. ఒక్కసారి ఆలోచించినట్టయితే ఆడదానికి ఆడది ఎలా శత్రువు అవుతుందో అలా మనం ఉండకూడదు. అప్పుడే ఈ అవేర్నెస్ ప్రోగ్రాం సఫలం అవుతుంది. ఈ మాటలతోటే మీ అందరి దగ్గర సెలవు తీసుకుంటున్నాను. నమస్కారం, ధన్యవాదాలు.
कुलपतिवर्येभ्यः हार्दाः धन्यवादाः। सम्प्रति सम्माननकार्यक्रमः भविष्यति। अहं सम्प्रार्थे आङ्ग्लविभागस्य आचार्यां प्रोफेसर् दीप्ता महोदयाम् आगतानाम् अतिथीनां सम्माननं कुर्वन्तु इति। Madam, I request Professor Deepta Madam to felicitate our chief guest of this program, Professor T. Sita Kumari Madam. तथैव कुलसचिव महोदयान् सम्प्रार्थे अस्माकं कुलपतीनां सम्माननं कुर्वन्तु इति। तथैव कुलपतिवर्यान् सम्प्रार्थे कुलसचिव महोदयं सम्मानयन्तु इति। सङ्गणकविभागस्य प्रमुखान् आचार्याणां रमाश्री महोदयान् सम्प्रार्थे दीप्ता महोदयानां कृते सम्माननं कुर्वन्तु इति। धन्यवादाः सर्वेभ्यः। सम्प्रति धन्यवादसमर्पणाय साहित्यविभागस्य सहायकाध्यापिकां डॉक्टर बुल्टीदास महोदयां सम्प्रार्थये।
Thank you, Vaishnavi Garu. On behalf of my team, my committee, I'm here. First and foremost, I would like to thank our today's program chief guest, Madam Professor Sita Kumari, Madam. Thank you so very much, Madam, for your kind presence here. And personally, as a woman, I have collected many information from you because I am a newly married woman, so that it is very important for me. I will definitely inform to my husband also. So thank you for your information. थैंक यू सो वेरी मच एंड देन हमारे आदरणीय कुलपति महोदय जिनके कंटिन्यूअस सपोर्ट की वजह से हम आज के इस कार्यक्रम में यहाँ पर उपस्थित हुए हैं। मैं हमारे आदरणीय कुलपति महोदय प्रोफेसर GSR कृष्णमूर्ति महाभागा को मैं यहाँ से इस मंच से इस स्टेज से मैं आपका हार्दिक धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करती हूँ। धन्यवाद सर, हमें इतना सपोर्ट देकर इस कार्यक्रम के शुरू करने के लिए। हम आपको आश्वास देते हैं कि 10 दिसंबर तक हम कंटिन्यू वुमेन पखवाड़ा और हम सभी जो नारी सशक्तिकरण है इस विषय को हम इस यूनिवर्सिटी में ज़रूर अच्छे से कार्यक्रम में लाएंगे सर। थैंक यू सर फॉर योर presence here. And then I would like to thank our respected registrar sir, Commander Challa Venkateshwar sir. Thank you sir for your coming, and we really motivated ourselves from your speech sir. Thank you. And thank you our special chief madam. I called all these days because she is the chief for our this program. For this program, and coordinator madam, our R. Deepta madam. Thank you madam for motivating us, me and Vaishnavi Garu. Thank you. And last but not the least, last 1 week और 10 days से दीप्ता मैडम ने जिस प्रकार मुझे और वैष्णवी गारू को इस मंच पे लाने तक का सफ़र तय किया था, और इस मंच में आने से पहले एक व्यक्ति हमसे ना छूटे, हमसे कोई दोष भूल त्रुटि ना हो, उसकी हमने जिम्मेदारी उठाई थी। और हम एक व्यक्ति को जाकर निमंत्रण करके आए, आमंत्रण करके आए कि हमारे आज के इस कार्यक्रम में आप पहुँचिए, ताकि हम ये जो मैडम बोली थी हैशटैग, ये वुमेन डे नहीं है। बहुत सारे स्टाफ्स नॉन टीचिंग फैकल्टी हमसे पूछ रहे थे, ओके वुमेन डे सेलिब्रेशन ज़रूर हम जाएंगे। नो सर, it's not Women Day celebration. So you can see now International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women. हम आज के इस कार्यक्रम में आप सबका मैं तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहती हूँ, खास करके हमारे सामने जो बैठे हैं हमारे सभी सर, हमारे स्टूडेंट और हमारे सीनियर फैकल्टी सबका, कि आप लोग हमारे आज के इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने के लिए यहाँ पर उपस्थित हुए हैं। थैंक यू सो वेरी मच फॉर योर काइंड प्रेजेंस। एंड लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट अगेन, हमारे सारे जो स्टूडेंट, फैकल्टी मेंबर, टीचिंग स्टाफ, नॉन टीचिंग स्टाफ, पर्सनली जाकर कल आपको बहुत डिस्टर्ब किया, मैडम प्लीज़ आइए हमारे कार्यक्रम में। इसके लिए मैं इस मंच से आपसे क्षमा मांगती हूँ और धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करती हूँ। आप सबके प्रेजेंस से हमारा आज का ये कार्यक्रम सफल हुआ। आगे 10 दिसंबर तक हम अपना वुमेन पखवाड़ा चालू रखेंगे, उसमें भी आप सबका हार्दिक स्वागत है। धन्यवाद। हमारे आज के इस कार्यक्रम इत्युक्ते मंच पे हम जो खड़े हैं उसके पीछे और भी कुछ बैकबोन सपोर्ट है हमारे, हाँ, जो पुरुषों से जो सपोर्ट मिला है, जो हम तीनों जो इस मंच पे अभी यहाँ पर एकत्रित हुए हैं फ्रॉम कमिटी मेंबर, उनके पीछे और बहुत सारे लोगों का योगदान है। इनमें से है ट्रांसलेशन डिपार्टमेंट के डॉक्टर के कुमार सर, तपन गड़ई सर, आप दोनों का हार्दिक धन्यवाद देती हूँ मैं इस मंच से। और हमारे कुछ वॉलंटियर्स जो रात को 8:30 बजे तक कल यहीं पर थे मंच की सज्जा देखने के लिए, थैंक यू। और ये मेरा पहला प्रोग्राम है एज एडिशनल कोऑर्डिनेटर। थैंक यू मैडम एंड थैंक यू सर फॉर गिविंग मी दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी। थैंक यू।
धन्यवादाः सर्वेभ्यः। अनेन अयं कार्यक्रमः समाप्तिं याति।